A dark African folktale of greed and consequence. The village of Umu Okoro had only one thing in abundance: poverty. Dust clung to every rooftop. Hunger lived in every household. And in a small, crumbling hut at the edge of the village lived a boy named Obina. Obina was tired. Tired of watching his mother starve so he could eat. Tired of wearing torn clothes while other boys mocked him. Tired of dreaming about a life that never seemed to come. Every night, he would lie on the cold floor, staring into darkness, whispering, "One day, I will be rich, no matter what it takes." The encounter. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon and shadows stretched long across the earth, Obina sat alone under the old Iroko tree, the tree villagers feared. They said spirits gathered there at twilight, but Obina no longer feared anything, not even spirits. A voice suddenly broke the silence. "You seek wealth, but lack the courage to claim it." Obina's heart skipped. He turned slowly. A man stood behind him, tall, dressed in fine black cloth that shimmered strangely as though it absorbed the light around it. His face was calm, too calm. And then Obina noticed something that made his skin crawl. The man had no shadow. The offer. "Who are you?" Obina whispered. The man smiled faintly. "Someone who gives people what they desire, at a fair price." Obina swallowed. "What price?" The man stepped closer. "Your shadow." Obina blinked, confused. "My shadow?" "Yes," the man said softly. "That dark thing that follows you. It is of no use to you, yet of great value to me." Obina hesitated. "And if I refuse?" The man's smile deepened. "Then you return to your hunger, your suffering, your nothingness." Silence swallowed the moment. The wind stopped. Even the leaves refused to move. Obina looked down at the ground. His shadow stretched beside him, thin and weak like the rest of his life. What had it ever done for him? Nothing. The decision. If I agree, I'll be rich? Beyond your wildest dreams. No suffering? None. No consequences? The man paused, just for a second. Then he said, "None that you will understand until it is too late." But Obina did not hear that last part clearly. His mind was already drowning in visions of wealth. Gold, power, respect, a new life. "I accept." The exchange. The man's smile widened. He reached into the air, as if grabbing something invisible. And suddenly, Obina felt a cold force tug at his feet. He screamed. His shadow began to peel away from him, slowly, painfully, like his very soul was being torn apart. "Stop!" But it was too late. With one final, silent snap, his shadow was gone. The man folded it like cloth and slipped it into his garment. Then, just like that, he vanished. The transformation. The next morning, Obina woke up on a soft bed. A palace surrounded him. Servants bowed at his feet. Gold filled his room. Food, more than he had ever seen, covered long tables. He laughed. He screamed with joy. He had made it. But something was wrong. The first signs. When he stepped outside, The sun shone brightly, yet there was nothing beneath him, no shadow. At first he ignored it, but the people didn't. They stared, whispered, moved away from him. Why does he have no shadow? Is he human? Is he cursed? Animals fled at his presence. Dogs barked wildly. Children cried when he came near. Even his own reflection in water seemed distorted. The isolation days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Obinna had everything, except peace. No one came close to him anymore, not even his mother, who now lived in luxury. She looked at him one day and stepped back in fear. "Your eyes, they are empty," she whispered. "What have you become?" Obinna began to notice it too. He no longer felt joy. Food had no taste. Laughter felt forced. And at night, he could hear something, a whisper, following him. The truth revealed. One night, unable to bear it any longer, Obinna returned to the Iroko tree. "Come out!" he shouted. "Take your gold back! Give me my shadow!" The wind howled. The air grew cold. And slowly, the man appeared again. "You called for me." Obinna fell to his knees. "Please, take everything. I don't want it anymore." The man tilted his head. "You wish to undo the deal?" "Yes." "Impossible." "Why?" The man stepped closer. His voice dropped to a whisper. "Because your shadow was never just a shadow." Obinna froze. "It was your soul." Silence. Heavy. Crushing. "Without it, you are no longer fully human." Obinna trembled. "Then, give it back." The man smiled. Cold. Final. "I cannot return what you willingly sold." The final tragedy. Obinna staggered backward. His body felt lighter, weaker, like something inside him was fading. "What will happen to me?" he whispered. The man's form began to dissolve into darkness. "You will remain rich, but empty. Alive, but not living. Seen, but never accepted." And when the time comes, his voice echoed into nothingness. "You will disappear, just like your shadow did." The end. Years later, the palace stood abandoned, gold covered in dust. Silence filled the halls. No one knew what happened to Obinna. Some said he vanished. Others said he slowly faded into the ground until nothing remained. But the elders of Umu Okoro would always warn, be careful what you trade for wealth. Because sometimes the price is not what it seems. And at sunset, if you stand near the Iroko tree, you might see a figure walking, richly dressed, but with no shadow. The end.